Everybody to the Focus Friday. We have several people online. Mike Tank, I see Sean Herndon, I see Leah Trowbridge is back. Leah, you've been in Europe or something, right? Yeah, good to see you. And I'm not sure who the telephone is, but we got somebody on telephone and
Morning.
welcome everybody.
Morning.
The presenting sponsor of this program is Novant Health Huntersville Medical Center. Mike Riley is here. And Mike, we're gonna, at some particular point, we're gonna have you come in and talk about the developments or non-developments as it relates to the possible merger of Lake Norman Regional Medical Center. But at the very least, can you share some of the things going on, perhaps touch on that, but what's happening at Novant?
Sure, yeah, things in the healthcare arena compared to the last 3 or 4 years are relatively stable as healthcare goes. So that's a great thing. At Novant Health, same thing, we're doing well. Very excited, to let you know, and I will talk about this in every public forum I'm at. November 2nd, at the campus of the Novant Health Huntersville Medical Center, we're going to be having our 20th anniversary. I talked to people who've been here for a long time, and they're like, oh my God.
20 years?
Years, yeah. And it's funny, I hear stories about people, this is before I started, people would make fun of Novant. Why are you building this hospital in the middle of nowhere? And look at it now, you can't even pull in place because there's so much traffic. So November 2nd, we are having our 20th year anniversary. Yeah, as far as the FTC and Lake Norman Regional, the FTC filed to block it. They did that before, and the local judge ruled in our favor, but then the FTC appealed it and went to an appellate court, and the appellate court turned it down. So we really don't see a path forward there. We're going to continue to look and see if there's other things we can do, but as things stand today, it does not look good. So always looking for opportunities in Iredell County, always want to serve the, the South of Iredell, North Lake Norman area. So we're here, we're available, we have clinics, we have all kinds of options, just not a hospital up in Iredell County. So we'll continue to look at that. But I'm happy to be that we're the sponsor for this, especially with CPCC. If you haven't heard, we need healthcare providers all over healthcare, not just at Novant Health. So we partner in a lot of ways with CPCC, and I'm excited to hear about what you guys have to say. I know Dr. Detweiler is on our board, really partners well with all of you, always looking to partner for new and innovative ways to get more healthcare. And it used to be just nurses. We just desperately needed nurses. We still need nurses. But now we need scrub techs and lab techs and rad techs and you name the healthcare position. It's kind of like we were talking earlier about welders and those kind of things. Those kind of folks are retiring and they're not getting replaced. So anything that you guys do in the healthcare arena or any arena is fantastic. So we're happy to be here for you guys.
Great. How many employees do you have at that location?
At Huntersville, we have about 1,000.
Novant is also the presenting sponsor of our Leadership Lake Norman program, which applications are now online for that. Junior Leadership Lake Norman, which again, applications are online for that. This is rising high school juniors. And the presenting sponsor of our golf tournament, which is coming up here pretty soon. We are looking forward to that as well. Thank you very much. WSIC is a supporting sponsor of this program. So is Business Day Cornelius today. Dave Yoakum has got the big day at the lake tomorrow taking place. And so he's totally swamped and consumed with that and told me he wouldn't be able to be here. But again, to get an opportunity, this is the 20th year of Big Day at the Lake. And most of the boat hosts will all be meeting out at the Energy Explorer about noon. So that's a good program. We got several people online. We won't do introductions, but of the people online, but we got several people online. Just before we get going, Mike, Sean, can y'all see the screen of Central Piedmont Community College? Okay, good. Then my technical abilities is at least okay today. I'm going to turn it over to you, Beth.
Thank you, Bill. And welcome everybody. Welcome everybody online. Welcome everybody here in the room. Mike, we certainly appreciate your sponsorship and your consistent support throughout, as we do all our sponsors. For our guest, it's Brett Fansler and Reggie Pincham. They are executive directors at the CPCC campus, but just for our back history this year with the Friday Focus, We've had great showings and great guests. It's all been really local. We kind of brought it back to local. We've had mayors, fire chiefs, police chiefs, town planners, or parks and recs folks, so everybody who's in the region. And it struck me that CPCC sits in the middle of the region and trains a lot of the folks that we need in all our fire and police and mechanical world. So welcome. We really appreciate you all coming. It's my hope that this and through its reporting, we can push out. I've been a long proponent of CPCC and the community college world. I think it plays an important part in the country as a whole. And I think that I feel as though the community college education has improved and increased so greatly over the last year since I was a young girl. I wish I had delved more into the community college world when I was younger. With that, let me just I'll give a little background for both of you all. And then really, I think this is such a dynamic conversation. You all can tell us about your campus, tell us about your school, and I'll throw questions in, and anyone else online or in the room is welcome to ask questions or make comments. So with that, Brett is the executive director for the corporate engagement at CPCC College. Prior to that, you had 7+ years, I think, or many more than that, but you were executive director at the Alexander Center for Education and Applied Technology, the dean of the Mooresville Mitchell campus, right? At CPCC. Prior to this appointment, you were the division director for Applied Technologies and Manufacturing and Outreach.
Yep.
Right? Gardner Webb, and then Western Carolina with a Bachelor of Business Administration and Business of Science in radio and television.
Correct.
Very good. Google teaches you a lot, right?
Oh, boy.
So-
I didn't know you did all that. I didn't know. My goodness, I'm tired.
In multiple leadership positions on the academic side, as well as continuing education and facility management. Prior to community college work, you worked in the private sector roughly 6 years. Was that in television and radio perhaps?
No,
Okay.
it was different,
Okay.
manufacturing.
Good. Brett's passionate about the impact of the community colleges, loves sharing community college success stories, including the success of his own children. And with that, Reggie is the executive director of the Merancas campus right here in our North Mac region. Mr. Pincham has over 25 years of experience in higher education. You were the former president of North Carolina High School for Accredited Learning, and that governs the Commonwealth of Stewart Creek Charter High Schools, and you continue to serve on the board, right? You're currently on the Simmons YMCA board, the Charlotte Metro Wise Diversity, Inclusion, and Global Committee, Christian Emphasis Committee, and the past recipient of a George Williams Award. Mr. Pincham also serves on the State Employees Credit Union Board of Advisors, Matthews Branch. You graduated from Johnson C. Smith University and have your received your MA in Urban Studies at the Queens College and State University of New York. And you're an active member of the Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, married with 4 children, 2 grandchildren, and you're a native of Jamaica, Queens, New York. So welcome, both of you. I do know that Brett has a presentation that can start the conversation if you want to roll that way.
Yeah, so how we'll do this, I'll go through a few slides, and Merancas campus, there's a couple slides in there too, that I'm gonna let Reggie take the helm with that. And then I'll finish it off with corporate engagement. So, just a little bit about Central Piedmont. First of all, a lot of dialogue before we even got started, but did you know we service about almost 44,000 students a year? Pretty amazing. Now, having said all of that, a little bit different than a university, right? Because we don't have dorms. So a large percentage of our students are part-time, right? And so we have over 3,200 international students representing 138 countries. Middle college, high school students at 4 middle colleges. There's 907 students, and I'll explain that in a minute what that is. Nearly 1,200 military veterans. 8 customized training projects. I'll talk a little bit about that, totaling, and that falls underneath my area, totaling about $1.7 million, impacting 2,200 jobs. Central Piedmont contributes approximately $1 billion to the Mecklenburg economy, $1 billion. So when you look at the Yes, we're tax funded, not only by the state, but also by the counties, the county that we serve. But we also have a lot of grants and other types of funding, but we have it's a pretty good ROI, right? If you're looking at return on investment. So, and then of course, our student demographic breakdown of the year. We have nearly 300 degree and diploma programs. This is a little bit old data, but we have 2023, we had 3,539 students in Career College Promise. What is that? Does anybody know what Career College Promise is? This is when you have a high school student, right? That is at least 16 years of age. And if they're not interested in taking AP classes or something like that, they can sign up for our classes. They're transfer classes that'll go to the university. And guess what? Even better, they're free. Free of charge. When I talk about my students or my kids' success, because I know a little bit about community colleges, I've been doing it for so long. My son was finished with 75% of his associate's degree before he finished high school. And it didn't cost me anything. I was like, yes. Right? So it's great. Career College Promise, enrollment 2766, credit hours, 18,000. Middle college student, now what is that? That is actually, students that are juniors and seniors. Reggie's gonna talk about that because he has a middle college at the Merancas campus that they have decided to say, you know what, I'm gonna go to Central Piedmont, pretty much come over there full time, do they not, Reggie? And X number of students are enrolled and they can do their junior and senior year in high school pretty much with us. And at the end of the rainbow, finish with that associate's degree, transfer degree, and their high school credential. That's right. Free. So another good opportunity. And there's the figure again, we contribute approximately $1 billion back to Mecklenburg County.
How do you come up with that $1 billion?
There is a research group that does, it's called MC, that does all types of economic data research. And they do this for all the community colleges. So they take a look and actually go micro and say, how do we impact? We look at it from job placement. We look at it from helping individuals. We have students that are homeless, right? They'll come and actually get a credential and then get a job. We track students once they've come through us to see if they become successful. So we kind of look at those metrics to say if they were still on some assistance and not self-sufficient, right? How does that impact the overall resource? When we turn it, then that of course takes off from that resource drain. So that's kind of how we come up. And we also use MC data to help us with that too. Yeah. So students moving forward this past year, we awarded nearly 3,000 credentials, 2,200 associate's degrees, 125 diplomas, 582 certificates, like in welding, right? These are credentials that people can walk away with. Now, nearly 1,100 students transfer to these institutions. Of course, those numbers don't add up to that number because they go to multiple places. Let me explain something about our transfer degree in comparison to the others. And this is where it gets a little, it can be a little confusing, okay? We have associate's degrees, Associate of Arts, Associate of Science, Associate of Fine Arts, even Associate of Engineering that are transfer degrees that will walk right into a four-year school. When you finish your transfer degree, you walk in as a junior, right? And you get started. We have Associate of Applied Science degrees. And let me give you the example because I run into this all the time. We have an Associate of Applied Science degree in Business Administration, right? And thankfully, a lot of our counselors up front ask this question. And I've been in 3 schools total, right? And not everybody does a great job at this. But the Associate of Applied Science does not all transfer. So in other words, the key question when somebody comes into the community college, what's your ultimate goal? Right? Where do you want to be? Do you want to do a 4-year degree? Or are you done with it after you finish your 2-year degree? If they say 4-year degree and I want to get a degree in business, the recommendation should not be, we'll go into our Associate of Applied Science and Business. Why? Only about 70% of that transfers. Having said that, since 70% of those transfer, get into one of our transfer degrees and use the business classes as your electives. Like introduction to business, like introduction to management, those classes that we know that transfer, so that you got a huge leg up in the business curriculum when you get there. Does that make sense? I know it can be confusing. Now, there are some institutions that have taken like our Associate of Applied Science and Engineering, ECU is one of them. And they say, heck yeah, you guys got a great program. It's accredited by ABET. Everybody's on top of it. We want your students. So they have looked at it and created pathways for applied science. Really, the only difference in the applied science and this is there's not a lot of general ed in it, right? It's very, very trade specific. So business, it's all business classes, marketing, economics, accounting. You don't get the Englishes necessarily, maybe one or two, but you might get it, not all the English classes that would count for the transfer. So in a nutshell, what is a transfer degree? It's basically the general education at every four-year institution. You're just doing it in a much more nurturing environment.
Right, when I was a senior, I went to Winthrop College and I was gonna transfer to the University of South Carolina.
Yeah.
But in my junior year, going into my senior year, I was informed that 18 hours of electives would not transfer to South Carolina. One state school to another state school.
Yep.
They were the only A's and B's I made. I made it in fraternity. So, and I'm going like, I'm not making up 18 hours.
Correct.
When did that change? Because these were, when did that change that allowed that?
It is a state to state thing, so you're referencing South Carolina.
Yeah.
Most institutions want you to complete at least 30 to 40% of the degree there. Right.
Is the matriculation agreement between the community college system in North Carolina and the UNC system? Your hours don't necessarily go to all universities, or
In the state, for sure.
will they go to even like Duke or to
Duke
Wayne
will, Duke will evaluate and very likely take them.
right?
Okay.
I mean, with UNC, it's guaranteed. You have
It's written into law.
right. They will.
It's written into law. So in fact, my son did 66 hours at Catawba Valley Community College, and Western Carolina took all of them. I was like, I even missed those. I didn't realize they were gonna take all those. So he had 66 hours before he even started his first semester. And you only need 120 to graduate, right? So he was well ahead of the game. And I think I paid for a semester for him to finish his community college, which, is pretty reasonable. With at $76 a credit, that's pretty reasonable. So it's a good deal. So anyway, those are the schools that we have higher volumes. Of course, our students go all over the state. Some go to other states, right? But to your point, exactly, there is a written agreement. It's no longer, well, I hope that the university takes, psychology 150, psych 150. The answer is it's in law and they will take it. Now, having said that, some of the universities, and I run into this, some of the universities will say, sure, we'll take that 60, come on in. And this is up to the university, that's their choice, right? But you need to take this extra math class, or you need to take this extra humanities class or something like that before you're fully a junior, right? There's an extra thing of general ed that you have to do. That's up to the university and we don't get involved in that. The main thing is the 60 hours for your transfer goes. And that's by law. It's written. So. We also do a lot with apprenticeship. We have 160 apprenticeship students, 28 employer partners. The areas that I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Mechatronics, engineering, diesel, electrical systems, computer integrated machining. All these are apprenticeship programs in the area. We also do work-based learning. And there's 629 students that participate in those classes. That's when somebody has a co-op elective, right, that might be in their degree program. Sometimes they can use the employer that they have, right, and get the credit for it. But many of our programs require some sort of a work-based learning component to it, which is great. Yes,
My son just graduated from your heavy equipment training. He went through Carolina Tractor and he's a diesel mechanic and had an offer and a job waiting before he even got out.
I'm telling you, some of these trades, for sure are, we were talking earlier, are hot. And I will say, our training programs, when it comes to trades and applied science, I've been around the block. I've seen a couple schools second to none. You'd be shocked if you see what we've got going on there. Go to Reggie's campus and look at what's going on in the automotive area, the diesel heavy equipment's there. Holy mackerel. You're like, really? We get to do all this? We've got a Tesla program. So there's literally a Tesla. We're one of the first, right?
That's right.
We're one of the first training programs in the country with Tesla. They said, hey, you guys are doing such a great job. We want to partner with you. I just got off the phone the other day in San Diego. There's an organization over there that wants to partner with us. I'm like, there's a lot of geography between us and San Diego. They're like, we're here, you're the best. Okay, come on. So anyway, it's exciting stuff.
Hey, Brett,
Yes,
any opportunity to partner with the new vocational high school in Huntersville, Aspire?
absolutely. Absolutely. We do a lot of partnerships with CMS.
Well, it's a charter school, right?
It's charter, private charter.
Well, interesting that you bring that up, because that's a new market
And it's
for us.
straight high school.
Perfect.
So all the things that we think need to happen, that seems to be happening.
Let me tell you, let's talk. I will give you, if you have some contacts there, if anybody's got some contacts.
Yeah.
Chairman of the board. but-
You are?
No. You know.
Oh, you know. Give him my number. I'll give you my card, because that's another piece that my team is working on when I talk about corporate engagement to make more sense. We're actually having a partnership with a different charter school where they're gonna bus students to do construction classes. Why? Well, and actually, we're also gonna run a class in gaming and simulation at their facility. Why? Because they're looking for those opportunities for their students. And if you can add a credential to it, holy mackerel. That just makes the school more powerful and the student more marketable, right? At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's not about us. It's about doing the right thing about the students. Because ultimately it impacts this economy. We want to make sure that whoever we're turning out know what they're doing. Know what they're doing. Okay. So again, we offer more than $3 million in scholarships annually. So we do have, FAFSA and Pell grants and folks that do qualify for those. But in addition, we do our best to try to make sure that it's very reasonably, not expensive, very reasonable cost to try to supplement some with our additional scholarships that we get and that we can offer. These are just some, and I don't want to read every one of these, but graduates of Central Piedmont Early Childhood Education, prepare kids for kindergarten. The college works to recruit more minority students in STEM programs, which is fantastic. STEM is science, technology, engineering, math. You guys have probably heard that buzzword, but it's talked about a lot in education. Career College Promise allows high school students to earn tuition-free credits. And accelerated career training to ACT program. Offers short-term training. Here's another thing, by the way, just as a sidebar, it's not on the slides. Did anybody know of any students that struggle with standardized tests? I did. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I did. If you complete your 2-year degree with us and transfer to the university, they don't even care about an SAT. They could care less about what your score is on the SAT. Why? Because you've already demonstrated that you're successful at collegiate level work. Right? So that's all the ACT and the SAT does is a predictor of how you're going to perform in the collegiate level work. They don't care about it. Because you're already coming to them with their general ed done, and you've obviously done well enough, at least to C or better for it to transfer. Got to get a C or better in every class. So you get a D in economics, sorry, that one's not going. Right? But anyway, good stuff here. And then guys can reflect back on that slide. There's a $1 billion again, amount equal to 1% of the county's gross regional product. And we've been doing this for 60 years, over 60 years. 1963 is when we started, right? Did you know there are 58 community colleges in the state, by the way? 58, did you know that? There's several just right around here, as you know, Mitchell, you got Rowan Ferris, you got Gaston. Why is it that many? When it started in 63, the state legislature said, we want higher education accessible to everyone in the state within no more than a 20-minute drive. I think they accomplished that because it is a masterful system that's modeled all over the world. We've had people from all over the world come look at our system. And I'm gonna tell you, and this is not a political statement, but in terms of funding, we make chicken salad out of you know what. Now, about 1.3 billion in funding to fund all 58 schools. Now, that sounds like an enormous amount of money. The university system, their funding is about 18 billion. There's 16 state-supported universities.
What was that number again? What was the number for
For us, about 1.3 billion. That's roughly. And it changes. We're hopefully getting in the short session of the legislators, but you know, it is what it is. But no, that funds the entire system. So it's 58 community colleges, and our impact is about 700,000 students across the state. Our university partners are about 200,000. We love our university partners. I don't want that to be a negative, but they get a lot of funding, and they've got different things. They need dorms and food, and I get it. But it's significant, we get significantly less, and that's okay.
Can you tell me about the food pantry,
Yes.
that's on the beach campus?
Yes. We actually have, a lot of donations that come in, and we set up. Why? Because our students are coming from a variety of different demographics.
So like at Merancas, where's the food?
Well, we have vouchers. With those vouchers, if a student comes to me and says they're hungry, they need food, we'll give them a voucher. And they'll take that voucher. And actually, there's a cafe on campus. They can use that voucher immediately at that cafe. And they'll accept that and give them something to eat.
Yep. Every one of our campuses, if they don't have something there, they can give you opportunities and show you where you need to go. We're very, very connected with a lot of different resources, not only county resources, but nonprofits to try to help students. Because it is not uncommon, in my experience, to have the affluent and to have the homeless coming to school with us. And that's just no exaggeration whatsoever. I've worked with students that were homeless living out of their car, but had straight A's in class.
Right.
That were doing really, really well, right? We want to support them and we want to make sure they're successful, right? So. Yes. We'll go on next. There's a lot of stuff on there. Now we're gonna get into Reggie. Now, I told Reggie to kick me because I love like doing these kind of events. And Reggie's like gonna never wanna do one of these events with me again. Sorry, Reggie.
You get the next 30.
Cause I like talking and I'm passionate about what we do, okay? And that's the only
You
reason.
watched too much of the convention last night, right?
Is that what- yeah, exactly.
I thought that was never gonna end.
Yeah, this is true. It was long. So these are our different locations. Of course, Reggie is number 6, the Merancas campus. You can see where we're located and the strategy of what we did years ago, back in, or probably 98 is really when it started. Hey, let's put some campuses around kind of the perimeter of the county so that we can reach out. Because Central Campus, as much as we love it and it's changed so much, and if you haven't been down there in the past few years, it looks as nice as a university right now. It's beautiful. But all of our other campuses do too. A lot of work has gone into that, right? But not everybody can go downtown, right? It's just difficult. And if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, you know, somebody lives in Mint Hill, that's gonna be difficult for them to get somewhere like downtown. So we've got a Levine campus out there. Very large campus, actually. We have Cato, we've got Central, we've got Harper, which is where I cut my teeth. I actually started off at the Harper campus, which is down right off Airwood Road near Carowinds. The Levine campus in Matthews, Merancas, of course. City View Center, which is actually, I believe, a leased facility. Am I right on that, Reggie? I think it's leased. We do cosmetology there, but that's going to be rolling out and we're going to do some additional things there, I think, in the years to come. And we actually own WTBI, PBS. Did you know that? Now, we don't like say this is what you program. They do their own thing. It's kind of a separate entity, right? A legal entity. But it is a resource that we have. So without further ado, my colleague, Reggie, and I'm so sorry.
Can I sit here? or-
Yeah, you may do, you may sit, stand,
Thank you.
walk,
I got my-
walk on your hands, whatever you like.
Well, thank you, thank you. This is obviously my campus and it wasn't in my bio, but I've worked on 4 campuses besides, I worked on Levine, Cato, and Central campuses.
All within
All within
CPCC.
CPCC, yeah. So, but this is my last and final campus. After this, I'm gonna walk off into the sunset. But
Not yet.
not yet, not yet. But yes, this is Merancas campus and you see the programs that we offer at Merancas. Brett was kind enough to mention the fact that we do have the Tesla program. We're very proud of that program and we're looking to expand that program because we train their mechanics and they're sending more people to us and we have to get more space for them.
So how does that work? Did Tesla approach you and you all developed the program for them?
I guess Brett might be able to tell you better. than I
Yeah,
can.
well, it was kind of a joint thing. They reached out, and said, we see what you guys are doing.
In the automotive, what you're
And then,
doing.
how many cars do we have? 8 to 10 they just gave us, something like that?
Just gave us to work on. Yeah.
And they're all made to tear up and mess with, and we've got all the electric motors, and we're learning to teach the students about battery technology, the whole 9 yards, so it's comprehensive.
And they send their employees to us to train them.
But it is a Tesla design program, right? But we just infused it in our curriculum so that a student can get that certificate, that credential.
And Tesla hires the instructors, so they're Tesla employees who teach their.
So you teach what?
students. Yeah. Also, he did mention the middle college, Merancas Middle College, last fall, we had 190 students. Its capacity is 200. We plan to hit that this fall. But a lot of those students, as Red mentioned, graduated with their high school diploma and their CPCC associate's degree. And so they walked across that stage twice. And to see those parents and to see the joy on those students' faces, it makes my job worthwhile to see that. That's the best part of my job, to go to those graduations. So the middle college is located on our campus. So we have a principal that's located on our campus. All of her administration and all her instructors are housed on our campus. It's the same thing at the Levine campus, the Harris campus, and the Cato campus, the other middle colleges, the same situation. So Miss Tanner and I are close friends and, we talk all the time. Actually, I saw her last night and we talked about some of the things because we had a visitor on campus yesterday. I'll talk about that as we get to the next slide. So,
What did you say your capacity was? Does that include the middle college as well?
That's the middle college students.
That's
So 200 students total. And that'll probably expand. I don't want to get into what's thought about in the future. We are looking at trying to start an early college also. We do have one on the central campus, an early college. So that's 9th and 10th graders. And so they're looking to expand that to the other campuses. But that's a couple of years in the future, I would think, but it's on the horizon. These are our buildings. The Clater building is where most of our student services are located, counseling, advising, registration, admissions, financial aid. Center for Military Families and Veterans are in that building on the left. On the right is the Claudia W. Belk Criminal Justice Building. We had a very distinguished visitor yesterday. Attorney General Mark Stein came to visit and tour that facility. So we had a chance to talk to our cadets. We have approximately 16 cadets from the Sheriff's Department who are learning. They're actually in the working the jails right now, but they want to advance to be, sheriffs where they drive around and catch us speeding. But we have 6. He addressed those students and just took a tour of the building. He was very impressed by what we have going on. And anytime any of you want to come and tour the facilities, please contact me and I'll give you the 10-cent or the 25-cent tour, depending on how much time you have. So that's those two buildings, can you go to the next slide?
Yeah, Reggie, I'm gonna say, I was a part of that. You gave me a tour
Mhm.
and it's state of the art. The technology they have in there to train is, yeah, top notch.
Go back to the previous slide. This is the transportation building on your left. This is, we talked about the heavy diesel equipment, training, collision and automotive repair. Also, the Tesla program is in that building. And so that's the largest building on the campus. Also, all of our faculty is located in that building, or most of our faculty. Those are curriculum, math, English, social studies teachers are in that building. On the right is our CDL building, our commercial driver's license training building. So we train students to drive trucks. And that's another lucrative occupation. Yes.
And what is the cost of that program?
That program is fairly simple. It's,
Yeah, that's like 200 $200.
yeah. It's
Plus they have to go get a drug screen and they also do a medical screen too.
And are there opportunities outside the community college to get your commercial driver's license, which
Oh, yeah.
is extremely expensive?
Exactly. I was gonna say that it's a lot
Right.
more expensive.
So
$300 for the whole program?
Yes.
versus
It's
a
200
couple of
something.
thousand,
Yeah,
I mean, it's,
Yeah.
I know it's under 3, but it's 200 something.
Mhm.
But then you have to get, your health credentials and you apply for the license.
Right.
That's kind of up to the student. We don't get involved in that.
Yeah,
Right.
We do the training.
right.
And it's day and night, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
We do them at different times.
Yes.
So also, like after that, do you do time on the road, like training that time?
Yes. Mhm. Yes, you do.
Because I know some of the people that I work with, they won't hire them until they've had like 2 years under the belt. Insurance wise, so y'all offer connections to like the student driver aspect or. No, like to be a partner of the company, to let them ride along, but
Well,
also drive kind of.
So actually, I know we have a lot of partner companies.
Yes.
A lot of them are hiring them right out, and
Yeah.
then they're gonna do the training or
Yeah.
do the ride along stuff.
We need. to-
And it depends upon the level of CDL that you're getting, right?
Yes.
So we don't get into the hazardous material, because that's a bigger deal.
Mhm.
But I know we do dump truck all the way up
Yeah.
to truck, transfer truck.
That's what I'm saying.
And I don't remember the actual grades on those, CDL something or CDL A or something like that. We do those, but not anything higher than that.
So that's interesting. So you have it right here on campus in a community college environment.
Yep.
For very inexpensive cost versus a commercial group that does it, and it's several $1,000s, am I correct?
What's the average pay?
Um, my understanding, and I'm.
Of like a truck driver?
Yeah.
I'm going back years, because I haven't been recruiting in a long time, but back when I was a recruiter, it was around 65,000,
Okay.
straight up.
I
It's
was told,
probably increased by now.
I was told the other day that, and then part of, I hope we get to is how you find apprenticeships and internships through in the business world, but coupled with the community service, the community colleges. But, a group like a US Food Service is paying $85,000 for 18-year-olds to drive trucks. And it bumps up some incrementally
Make
at
a
21.
six-figure salary.
And they cannot fill the jobs.
Yeah.
They cannot fill the jobs, but they're willing to pay 85,000 and 135,000 if you're 21, just to drive the truck. And deliver.
Well, he's 18 years old
Mm.
on the floor at Carolina Tractor. He loves it.
Yeah,
That's great.
that's fascinating.
And we also do motorcycle training there too, so you know how to ride a motorcycle.
My husband will be there when my children are out of college, not until.
Me too. I'm coming, Reggie.
Okay. And this is our newest building. This is where my office is located. Some of you probably been in that building, if you visited the campus. That's also where the middle college is located. And if we do have an early college will be in that building also. And so, that's basically it. We had roughly last fall, 3,100 students, came to our campus. Majority of those are, associates in arts and associates in science degree, students who are looking to transfer. But we do have a large, probably with maybe Harper might beat us a little bit, the largest population of associates and applied science students with the programs that we offer.
What's your most popular program?
Well, on our campus, probably automotive, probably, would you say?
Yep.
Yeah, I would say automotive.
So along with that, did I see it right? 56% female, 44% male. That doesn't make sense to me. I may be sexist.
No, that's, well, even.
Well, we just talked about all male vocations there.
Mhm.
Again, probably being sexist, but,
Trying to get my daughter to go into welding too. It's not going so well at this point.
but how do you explain? I'm sure you, well, I can give you, so popular programs on Reggie's campus are the automotive, but college-wide, it's still a college transfer,
Yeah,
right? So they're gonna be taking the early college or the transfer program to go to the university. So that's kind of where the numbers get a little bit skewed. If you were to look at it campus by campus, yeah, you probably see some of that. But I will say, to your point, I know a lot of the trades are recruiting women welders, women HVAC technicians.
Truck drivers, you know.
I mean, let me just tell you.
I mean,
it-
It was my-
Also, my son's.
Well, and honestly, we have an internship program for high school students.
Yeah.
We have 2 girls that are technicians in plumbing and they are loving it.
Absolutely.
So, I mean.
And I'll
there is
tell
a
you,
way like that.
I supervise the welding program. Every welding instructor say a woman's actually a better welder because there's more attention to detail.
Yeah.
Right? And that's exactly what you need. If you're flying on a plane and somebody didn't weld the wing right,
door.
I think we got our door. You got a little bit of a problem, right? I want attention to detail.
Yes.
Yeah. My concern is just more bigger picture is college is definitely going female. More women graduate with 4-year degrees than men do, which is fine. And when you see, you mentioned 18 years old, when you see 18, 20-year-old young men who are struggling, they tend to do really stupid shit. And we gotta focus on it.
Yeah.
And this weekend is a perfect example of it, you know? So I'm really into that. I mean, if I interview one more kid that has a psych degree or criminal justice that decided not to pursue that vocation before they got their diploma, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Well, and to that point.
Thank you for listening.
Brett.
Yeah.
And Reggie, the corporate engagement part from the chamber's perspective, that's one big reason we're here. How do we as a chamber and our businesses and our members use you all more and engage with you all more and pull and I will say, as we said earlier, for a long time, when my son was coming along, we talked about the community college,
Yes.
but it wasn't cool. All his friends were going, to the big schools for the college experience.
Right.
Well, it hadn't worked out so well for a good many of them, and they're all rolling back and now focusing on the community college. But I go back to, it's not cool. How do we, it is, I think you've done a tremendous job within the high schools and the partnership programs there. When did that start, by the way? When did the College Promise and the joint venture with the high schools, when did you all go into the high schools and start?
It's been years. It's been in the works for many, many years.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily pushed.
It's not, and
And so
how
we
do
have to
we as
kind
a
of get the word
community kind of engage better and normalize it? The trade world is now the collar world. That's what we need and that's what we want
Yeah.
in this area and in this country. So what's the missing link of getting our 18-year-old kids, boys, and girls, but getting them into the community college system? Because I
Yeah.
think what we're seeing is sort of endemic of the elementary education is failing a lot of our students.
Right.
And they lose interest and they're
Right.
bored and then they fall out. And that's kind of where I see particularly the
Yeah.
2020 graduating class and COVID, that world.
Yeah.
I can give you an odd little timeline of the elementary education. When the graduating class of 2020, their kindergarten, first, second, third grade year, core curriculum came into the world, which changed a lot of things, maybe not for the better.
Yeah.
Legislators decided to follow that. They took math facts and cursive writing out of the core curriculum, which directly relates to frontal lobe development for particularly young men. Math facts, cursive writing, art, all that was dissolved. Since been put back in. My children happen to miss all of that. My daughter can barely write cursive, and the 6 tables is difficult for all of them, 6 and 7. So then you go on to 6th grade, which was the first year anybody had ever been told to bring your own technology to school, which was a mistake, a monumental mistake, because nobody knew how to manage it. And they had firewalls in the middle school. You could stand in there and get on any VPN and go up under the wall and look at Snapchat all day long in the middle schools. And so then you fast forward into the 2020 dilemma. So it's been a difficult time for, I think, this generation of children.
It has.
But and the education aspect and curiosity was lost somewhere in all that.
Without a doubt, and I could jump down the rabbit hole and go and talk about that. But I do know that the high school partners have done the best they can. We might disagree with some of the ways in which they've done, and that's fine. It's okay to disagree. But to your point, when you're losing focus of science, technology, engineering, math, and that focus, that's gotta be a focus, and you can't lose those pieces. In terms of what we offer is when the student comes to us and they test into our classes.
Well, sort of.
They may do remedial coursework, right, to help them out, to make sure that they're going to be successful. But for the longest time, we were seeing huge numbers in remedial coursework. Again, not a slam on anybody or any institution. But there's a standard to be successful in some of these classes. So rather than pump them all into remedial courses and then they get lost in a paper hurricane, we actually would do paired courses. So like if they needed to take math 140, 143, it's just a transfer, right? There'd be a 043 paired course with
Like a lab.
that would be a support course to
Like a
get them
lab
through
or
it.
something, study.
Whereas
study.
before, it used to be, sorry, you gotta take math 05, 06, 07, 08, 09, and then get into your math. And you're sitting here going, well, nobody's gonna do that. It takes a long time. So how do we pair it and make sure that they're successful, keep them motivated, to your point, right? But yeah, I could go down a rabbit hole with that. It's a challenge. Without a doubt, education was a challenge. I will say that community college was very well positioned when there was a pandemic because my daughter was at Western Carolina when that happened and they were not ready. Western Carolina was not ready, and many universities were not ready. We had been doing hybrid and online classes for a decade.
Right.
Prior to COVID, so we were ready. We could actually do a quick migration. Some instructors better than others, right? But overall, we had the technology, the way in which to deliver those classes.
So I don't want to lose our conversation
Right.
about corporate
Corporate
engagement,
yes.
but along the lines of hybrid and online.
Mhm.
Clearly automotive and mechanical are much more in-person and hands-on oriented. Do you have a idea of the weight of whether you have more online classes? Are they all hybrids? Are they in person?
I think it's a good blend. Now, obviously with hands-on skills, and Reggie would agree with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta come and turn the wrench, right? I mean, I don't wanna be on a plane that was welded by somebody who weld online.
Yeah.
Right? That's just, I don't wanna do that. I want them to actually feel it, smell it, and do it, right? So what we have seen in the technical programs is a lot of hybrid models. So the textbook work, the tests, outside of the skills test, but the book work test can be done online, right? The actual work and the hands-on, they come into our labs. And I see a lot more of that than strictly just trying to do it online. Just because these are skills that we have to, they're hard skills. You have to demonstrate your ability.
Yeah.
I know our welding program is so rigid. I mean, if somebody welds and they do a bend test and they bend test and the weld breaks, you fail, period. Why? We don't want to churn out a welder that's not doing it right. Right? So if you can't do it right, then you're gonna go back to the drawing board and do it again to make sure that it's correct. But
We're seeing the shift in education. ECU now requires all their in-class courses, 100%. You have to teach it in class. You also then have to teach it online. The University of Illinois is one example, their MBA program is top 25 program. It's no longer in class, they've eliminated it, it's completely on. And then what happens is half the class is international because they're sitting in France and Prague and wherever, and it's part of your classmates,
yeah.
right? It's changing.
So back to the corporate engagement.
Yes.
Like I know you guys do classes for Metropolitan Greenhouses and training and development, to train their employees. I actually have several others that I've put in the pipeline for you guys too, to do the same thing.
Okay.
We're actually having an event on the 7th with you guys and we're inviting all of our, major,
At Cato,
no,
Merancas.
Merancas.
yeah, in our auditorium for our interns.
Okay,
And,
who are
and
you with? I'm sorry.
legal and economic development.
Okay.
And so with that, we will have all of our manufacturers and stuff invited to this to see kind of what the program's about.
Yep.
And this is gonna be a great opportunity, not only to say, hey, this is, now you guys have done this and you're in high school, right? So these are classes you can take. Specific to the internships that they are in, and then they'll have somebody else that'll say, hey, but you're going into the workforce now after this internship.
Yeah.
So this is your pathway.
Yes.
And then, hey, businesses that are here, this is what we can do for you to help your interns come back as employees.
Right.
That have all the training behind them.
Yep.
So that will be a great opportunity to get into your corporate engagement.
Yes. I probably will have one or two of my staff there, not myself, so that's great. It's my team, I don't call it, not my staff, it's my team. And let's talk about corporate engagement. Oh, did we lose my PowerPoint? I guess.
Yeah, you lost your PowerPoint. I can bring it back up.
Okay, well, corporate engagement, so that was the big question. So what is it? We do all these great things in all of our campuses, right? But my team, we actually will come talk to you. We'll actually deliver a training or design a training for your organization. That's very, very specific if you need it, right? So we'll do it in a customized training fashion. We'll do it in a contract training fashion, or we can design something and there's a curriculum opportunity, we can design it as a curriculum program, yes.
Is there a minimum size to a business that you would require?
No. Now, if we're going for state funding and we're looking for FTE, I would need a certain number in the class.
Mhm.
But if it's like, hey, we got X number of 4 or 5 employees that need this training, I might have some funding to help with that, or we can do it contractually and just,
And-
charge you a contract.
Under the corporate engagement arm at the college, and I may be off on this, most of our members are small businesses in this region. There's a small business component to the corporate engagement, right?
Yes.
There's a small business center. Can you explain that a little bit to
Yes.
our members? And
We have a small business center. It's located on the central campus. What is this? This is an opportunity for somebody that has a desire to start a small business, or has a small business and is struggling, to come get free business counseling, to come get free, seminars, free training, resources. And this is funded actually as a categorical fund from the state. It comes from the Small Business Administration, which is actually makes sense. All businesses start as a small business, right? So we got to support that. Let's make these businesses successful, right? So it's a standalone place, it's our Levine IT building on the central campus. And we've got classrooms, we've got all types of breakout rooms and run a bunch of programming. And we're actually not in the midst of hiring a new director for that. So hopefully we'll have a major launch of marketing of the type of things that we can do to help. And again, a lot of them are free. Some classes we run at cost a little bit, but oftentimes we come to an event like this. It's like a lunch and learn or something like that, and it would be a class. You guys could just come and if it's a topic that we could design, if this group wanted something specific, hey, we'd like to learn a little bit more about, we could do that. Through the Small Business Center, but corporate engagement. Again, yeah, sorry, my PowerPoint's gone, but I'm gonna go use the force here. I've got a team of 7. Again, we do contractual, we do customized training. I've got what's called business workforce liaisons. They're actually strategically located in different curriculum programs. So their job is to line up with the curriculum instructors and the industry that supports those programs. and we bring more partners to the table. We also go out and do cold calling and talk to individuals. Because what we want to do is have multiple partners with the institution. For a variety of reasons. One, it's just good. It's just good for the community. It can make those businesses a lot more successful with that partnership. But it's just it's just a good opportunity to use the resources that are already there. Oftentimes what we're offering is very low cost, if any. There's something that is cost, that would cost you a little bit, but I guarantee that if you hired a third party to come out, it would cost you a lot more. If we do something contractual, you're not gonna be like, oh my gosh, I gotta go take a loan out to pay for this class. No. We do it in a very, very reasonable way. We're not really out to make a ton of money. We want to cover our cost. And oftentimes the money that we make goes right back into the institution to help students. So really, it's almost like a charitable donation when you do a class with us in a lot of ways. Because it's going right back to the institution and used for students, which is great.
With his diesel mechanic class, at the end of class, not only was he certified, but he got a toolbox, he got,
Yeah.
stipend for tools, he got all kinds of things that kind of helped me under some of the costs.
Yeah, many of our trade programs is you complete the program, you're gonna get a good starter set of whatever you need to be successful, because that's expensive. Yes.
Red, I have a testimonial. My wife took the small business, went to the small business center.
Yep.
8, 9 years ago. She was gonna start a food truck business. She's 7 years in to the food truck business, and
Nice.
yeah, and she really benefited from it. So,
Yep.
yeah, it's a great program.
We got
lunch today.
No,
We should have the Merancas campus office.
She does come. I think she's been there twice.
We've got great resources in that opportunity, and we really we actually hire industry professionals. I mean, and that even goes to the curriculum program. I mean, our folks aren't just, the academic that walked out of school and is now teaching. Most of our folks is the academic with the credentials, but they've been out there. We're not gonna hire a welding instructor that hadn't been at least welding for 5 to 6 years. I mean, that it's not, hey, you got your welding degree, come on in. No, they've been out there, they've seen it. Same with HVAC, same with electrical, all those trades.
Well, there's so many questions and
Yes.
opportunity for conversation. We'll welcome you back in another forum, but I think it's important for us as a chamber to remember that CPCC is part of our community and here. We probably need to do more engagement both ways and utilize you all and all can continue forward for the greater good and all of our students. What is the most popular program within the CPCC program? Do you have any idea?
The most popular right now is the transfer programs, and then on the applied science side, overall, it's IT.
IT.
Oh, okay. IT. In fact, and they're getting ready to launch an AI degree, the first in the state, this coming fall. And I mean, that community college is pretty good about being innovative, but to start a degree, it's about a 2-year lift. It's a lot of work that the state requires. And the projection was, there was gonna be 50 students in it. It was literally just announced like right at the start of the summer. And I think they got like 48 students in it already. It's gonna be full.
And so for our members, if they have realized that they want to reach out to the corporate engagement side of things, you're.
I've got my card and I will leave a bunch of cards here.
And for our students, if they're, or our children and our young people that want to be involved or want to learn more about Merancas, the call to you.
I can help direct them as
Great.
well. Yeah, part of our role is reaching out, but also connecting and let people know what we have as a resource. There's a lot of resources.
Very good. Any other questions for our guests? Well, thank you all. Thank you to our sponsors again and enjoy the weekend. We'll see you next month. Thank you so much.